This is one of the big reasons why I'm in love in tea ceremonies. 皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. You might have heard that tea ceremonies are a way to train mentally and learn manners and respect. But many people, including the Japanese, think that tea ceremonies are about drinking tea. How can you possibly train someone's mind by drinking a cup of matcha? To be honest, the heart of tea ceremony cannot be easily explained. Even the tea masters who have trained for decades and have dedicated their lives to it will answer that they don't completely understand it, and they never will. However, there are some sayings left by the tea legend, Rikyu, who completed the form of tea ceremony we know of now. So today, as a tea ceremony trainee in Kyoto, I will explain the 4 philosophies and 7 rules of the tea ceremony that Rikyu has left behind. Anyone who has thought, who the heck is Rikyu? You can take a look at my video about the history of tea ceremony in advance. All the teachings I will introduce today are quite abstract, so I would like to share some of my own experiences and opinions that I have learned from my tea master, who has been training for more than 50 years. The most important lesson will be shared at the very end of the whole story, so I hope you can enjoy it till the end. それでは本日も参りましょう。First, let's talk about the 4 philosophies of tea ceremony. The 4 philosophies can be expressed by a 4 kanji character Japanese idiom called wake seijaku. Let's take a closer look at each of the elements. 1. Wa, harmony. Wa represents the peace and harmony of the tea ceremony. During the tea ceremony, the host and guest will work together in order to create a harmonious atmosphere. When we say guest, it sounds like they're there just for fun, but actually the guests have their roles in the ceremony too. During the ceremony, the participants should all be treated equally, regardless of age, gender, and nationality. This is why in a time when the samurais still existed, tea ceremonies were the only time they were forced to leave their katana outside the tea room and not be warriors. The tea rooms that are used today still have the small area outside where the katanas were originally meant to be placed. Also, there are a few topics of conversation that should be avoided to protect the peace and harmony of the ceremony. They are 1. Religion, 2. Money, 3. Trouble with family members, 4. Politics, 5. Backbiting. Wow, then what's left to talk about? We usually just talk about the seasons, how beautiful the decorations and the tea utensils are, and how delicious the meal and the tea was. 2. Kei, respect. Kei represents the mind of the host and guests respecting each other. We bow towards each other multiple times. Every time we greet, receive, or hand something to someone. However, this does not apply only between people. We must also respect and be thankful towards the tea utensils, the decorations, and nature as well. As I have explained in my other video, 4 hours of the tea ceremony, we must even bow to the hanging scroll, the iron pot, flowers, and tea utensils before we examine them. It's almost like you bow more than you breathe during the tea ceremony. I would say this aspect of respect towards nature is expressed in how we decorate the flowers in the tea room too. I will talk about this in the 7 rules as well, but we always decorate seasonal flowers in the tea room, and they must be decorated as if they are growing in the wild. This is why we don't use the verb arrange like in regular flower arrangements, but say throw because it needs to look natural as possible, to respect its original beauty. 3. Sei, purity. sei represents the purity of people's mind, the tea utensils, and the atmosphere. Tea ceremony is thought of as a time to cleanse your mind and soul. Just like you wash your hands and mouth before entering a shrine, you will do the same before entering a tea room to purify yourself. Also, the sake served together with the kaiseki meal is meant to purify your body. And the incense burnt together with the charcoal under the pot is for purifying the air inside the room. The host's tea serving procedures take about 10 to 15 minutes per bowl of matcha. Why would you have to use so much time to just make one bowl of tea? It is meant to express your sincere appreciation and respect by making it with time and care, and to serve a sophisticated and pure cup of matcha. This means both physically purifying the tea utensils and mentally purifying the mind of the one making the tea, as well as the ones who are going to be drinking it. 4. Jaku, tranquility. Jaku represents the quiet and undisturbed mind. Through the training of tea ceremony, you will learn how to blend into nature and to become a part of it. This will nurture an immovable spirit, which will not be easily affected by the mischief of life. This is why unnecessary conversation are shunned during the tea ceremony. When the host and guest first meet each other, when the host is doing the procedure of the koicha tea serving, when it's time for the guests to leave, the host and guests will not speak a word. This helps us to focus on the nature around us, feeling the light and air, listening to the sounds of wind and life around us, the things that you tend to ignore now in this modern world. The non-verbal communications between the host and guest helps you to realize that it's important to pay attention and notice the small changes in others' facial emotions and such to truly understand them. Now that you understand what the ultimate state of tea ceremonies is like, next, let's talk about the 7 rules you must follow in order to reach the goal. The 7 rules are: 1. 茶は服の良きように立て Make good matcha. 2. 炭は湯の沸くように置き Place the charcoal correctly to heat the water. 3. 花は野にあるように Decorate the flowers if they are growing in the wild. 4. 夏は涼しく冬は暖かに Create coolness in summer and warmness in winter. 5. 刻限は早めに Be prepared in advance. 6. 降らずとも雨のように Prepare for rain even if it doesn't. 7. 愛客に心せよ Care for other guests. 1. 茶は服の良きように立て Make good matcha. When you make matcha, you must pay close attention to the amount of matcha powder and the temperature of the heated water you use in order to make good matcha. The host will make a cup of matcha with a whole heart, and the guest will drink it with appreciation till the very last drop, with the host and guest respecting each other. Finally, that matcha can be called a good matcha. 2. 炭は湯の沸くように置き Place the charcoal correctly to heat the water. Properly preparing the charcoals to heat the iron pot is surprisingly an important skill you must learn through tea ceremonies. You must place the charcoals in a certain way in order for the water to correctly heat up. As I explained earlier, the temperature of the heated water is crucial for making good matcha. 3. 花は野にあるように Decorate the flowers as if they're growing in the wild. As I've explained when I talked about the respect of wake seijaku, we decorate flowers inside the tea room. However, these flowers must not be arranged into something too gorgeous, but it must be cherished and respected in its natural form by decorating them how they would grow in the wild. 4. 夏は涼しく冬は暖かに Create coolness in summer and warmness in winter. There is no air conditioning inside the tea room. In order to let the people feel and appreciate the natural seasons more. So in order to stay cool in summer and keep warm in winter, the host must think of every way to create a comfortable environment for the guests. We use different kinds of iron pots, tea utensils, to produce coolness and warmth through the design and arts. You might think, why don't you just put on air conditioning? That'll be so much faster and better for the guests too. But again, that might be physically comfortable, but it is far away from the true purposes of the tea ceremonies. 5. 刻限は早めに. Be prepared early in advance. This is not just about being on time, but also about using time wisely. In order to relax and enjoy the tea ceremony, the host and guests must all prepare in advance, just in case you don't waste other people's precious time. For example, I always have everything I need to join a tea ceremony ready a day or two in advance. 6. 降らずとも雨の用意. Prepare for rain, even if it doesn't. This is an example to say that you must be prepared for any unexpected situations. If both the host and guests are ready for any troubles that might happen, everyone can stay calm no matter what happens. For example, I always bring an extra set of items I need for the tea ceremony, just in case any of the other guests forget to bring something. 7. 愛客に心せよ. Care for the other guests. The relationship between the host and guests are very important. But the relationships between the guests each other is also important. By the guests looking out for each other, it will help to create a wonderful tea ceremony. In general, my master has taught me to always have a wide scope, checking to see if everyone is doing okay during a tea ceremony. To everyone who has been watching this video so far, didn't you think that these 7 rules are a little bit too obvious to be called rules? I mean, if it's a tea ceremony, making good tea, keeping the room comfortable for the guests, and being on time is something that you must do, right? Didn't you expect the tea legend Senno Rikyu to teach us some of his secrets for a good tea ceremony? Actually, there were some men who thought the same things a few hundred years ago, when Senno Rikyu was still alive. These men asked him, what is the secret to holding a good tea ceremony? Senno Rikyu's answer was these 7 rules I just explained. The men with doubt said, that can't be possible, sir. Those are too obvious, and anyone would do those things. To this, Senno Rikyu said quietly, looking deeply into this man's eyes. If you are able to hold a tea ceremony doing all of these 7 rules perfectly, I will become your apprentice. Stunning story, isn't it? I remember it gave me goosebumps when I heard it for the first time. We all know what's important in life. We should appreciate our partners, children, parents, and friends, and cherish the time we spend with them. We should always lend a hand to those who are in the need of help. We should get things done in advance so that we have enough time for important things. We should care for the environment and try our best not to destroy or poison it. But as you live everyday life, can you say with confidence that you perfectly do all of these things? Tea ceremony is a place where you reflect on yourself and remember the simple but important things in life. This is one of the big reasons why I'm in love in tea ceremonies. Lastly, today's conclusion. I introduced the 4 philosophies and 7 rules of the tea ceremony that Senno Rikyu has left behind. The 4 philosophies are Wake Seijaku. Wa stands for peace and harmony. The host and guests will work together in order to create a harmonious atmosphere. Ke stands for respect. The host and guests will respect each other and also the decorations, tea utensils, and nature. Se stands for purity. The guests will purify themselves with water like how you do at a shrine. The host will then make a sophisticated and pure cup of matcha through the tea serving procedure. Jak stands for tranquility. We avoid unnecessary conversations during the tea ceremony to feel and focus on the nature around us. This helps us to become a part of it, nurturing an immovable spirit. The 7 rules are 1. 茶は服の良きように立て Make good matcha. 2. 炭は湯の沸くように置き Place the charcoal correctly to heat the water. 3. 花は野にあるように Decorate the flowers as if they are growing in the wild. 4. 夏は涼しく冬は暖かに Create coolness in summer and warmness in winter. 5. 北限は早めに Be prepared in advance. 6. 降らずとも雨のように Prepare for rain, even if it doesn't. 7. 愛客に心せよ Care for other guests. Although they seem like simple things, they are the most important factors in order to care and respect the people and nature around you. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If this video helped you to deepen your understandings towards tea ceremony culture, please hit the like button to let me know. And my goal is to achieve 100,000 subscribers by January 2022, so your help is what I need. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips upon traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. So learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. Thanks again, and I'll see you again soon. どうもありがとうございました。